Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahano Bhunattu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti. Hari Om. The 14th verse which we saw the last class. Krishna says this realization is easily attainable. Tasyaham sulabhah partha. Then puts the condition. For whom it is easy, nityayuktasya yogina. For that nityayukta, for him it is easier. It is very easy for that person. For that ever steadfast yogi, I am easily attainable. That union is the problem. Our problem is to maintain that consistency of this thought of union. Consistency in maintaining the oneness there. That's the issue here for us. That's why he says, prayer is not a part-time, pastime hobby. It is a full-time awareness of truth. Have to have this full-time awareness, Swamiji says. What is a full-time awareness? Is like an actor who is performing various roles has an understanding that these roles, the characters that I'm playing, were all incidental. Today's character, incidentally, I am playing Richard III, villain, Macbeth, or what we call as anti-hero. Actually, he's a villain. You know. And then another scene, he plays Romeo and Juliet. Now, today's play happened to be Romeo and Juliet. There I am playing the role of Romeo. Yesterday, it was Hamlet. Previous day, Othello. Now, each day it is different. The roles are all incidental. But the actor who is performing those characters, he is permanent. Recognizing that actor as permanent one, rest are all incidental, is what is referred here as nityayuktasya yogina. Even if you are not able to understand that you are the actor, at least understand the roles that you are playing were all incidental. But we take the roles so serious. It's the first mark of spiritual evolution. If you evolve little spiritually, that lightheartedness is the sign in life. You will be so lighthearted. Otherwise, you take everything serious. You go to school, you take the schooling so serious. And then you go to college, serious. And then you go and play sports, it is so serious now. Even sports, we are not able to see fun there. You see, I still remember there was a match which happened between West Indies, India. We, the crowd is, 75 to 80% of the crowd is sitting there in the Chepak Stadium. We are there only to watch Vivian Richards play. Otherwise, we are not interested. We are not. We don't go there to watch. How Sunil Gavaskar is playing. We are not interested. That's a one-day match, and he hit one ball in a flash. Srikanth caught him, and within about 10, 12 runs or something like that, he got out. We could see from the stadium visibly Kapil Dev scolding Srikanth. Why did you catch? You should have left it there. I still remember Ian Botham bowling to Srikanth. The pull shot, wide outside the off stump ball, he will convert it and hit it leg gully. I don't know, only Srikanth had done that so far. I have not seen any other batsman doing it. I will deliberately bowl. It was fun. You make a double fault. The tennis players would be laughing at themselves. Now they are breaking this. Fortunately, this every racket is so expensive. It's all power rackets. It breaks. They throw the tennis ball here, ball there. It's so much of frustration. And in those days, only one player would be speaking to the referee. Nobody else will speak to the referee. Rest or all will be just, he says fault, full stop. They won't argue with it. Now, every point is treated as a match point now. So serious. You go to office, so serious. You raise a family, so serious. The things that are supposed to be fun is no longer fun anymore. Even playing with a child is also serious now. With a child, the fellow's playing. They saw, this guy is teaching his son, to play chess game. He is not a chess champion or anything. He knows how to play chess. That's all. Right? He's just playing. And he's telling the child to play. He's about, 7 or 8 year old. The fellow is just learning. Or maybe little learning he must have had. So the way he is playing, he knows how to play. That's all. Play seriously. 7-year-old fellow, you are asking him to play serious now. You get sick, you become so serious. You go to gym and exercise so serious. Tell me what is that one thing that you are doing? You come to Vedanta class, here also serious. All that you come here, how are you doing? So seriously good. Life is such a pain, The first spiritual growth, the mark of spiritual growth is lightheartedness. Lighthearted doesn't mean, all the time laughing for everything. It's not that, please. Immediately people think, lighthearted means I have to be laughing all the time. That's not what is referred. Don't take things so serious. Why? Because it's all incidental. Incidentally, this is my father, this is my mother. That's all. That's what Rama says. This is what Buddha said. All those masters have said the same thing. They How many fathers I have seen? This is what Buddha's, charioteer told him. Buddha, you wanted to leave. I understand. But you have chosen the wrong timing, he says. The timing is wrong. What is the timing? Just now you got that information that your wife has delivered a baby boy. First child, that too male child, for a king is the greatest dream of those guys in that period. And they are all saying this child is looking so nice and all good news are coming about the child. Just go and see the child and leave. No, looks very, very legitimate. No, you wanted to leave, leave. But just go and have a look at the child and then leave. No, that's the time we said. 400 times I have done like that. How many times I have done, you have no idea. I'm not going to repeat that same mistake this time also. Why? The moment you see, you take serious. Now, that's what he's giving here. It's just, actor on the stage. All the world's a stage. All men and women, mere players. They have their exits and entrances. Just play the role and get out. You cannot do that. Why we cannot do it is because we take those roles serious. Why we are taking the role serious? Because we have not understood this is just incidental. Incidentally, you are. Oh, he's my best friend. How did he become best friend? Incidentally, you joined that same school. He also joined that same school. Incidentally, you two were put in the same classroom when they divided the sections. Incidentally, you went and sat in the same bench. That's all. Everything is incidental. Hmm? And now he says what? Oh, this is my best friend. Not that you should not have a best friend. Right? But you must understand, even this friendship is also what? Is incidental. It's not permanent. So once you move that, once you understand this, then you can have that consistency of thought with reference to the self. Otherwise, it is not possible. He says, I'm easily attainable by that ever steadfast yogi, whose mind constantly and continuously thinks of me without any other thought, O Partha. Like a few years back, some time back, Kritika was asking me this amazing question. That you keep on saying, you want to realize, realize, realize. Okay, you realized. After that, what? So you say, I said, after that, what means what? That's all. I said, is it after realization, what? What happens after realization? You wanted to attain, you wanted to achieve that. That's what he says. No, easily attainable. He says this realization is easily attainable. Okay, you have attained it, which is so easy. Okay, after attaining that, by attaining that, what have you accomplished in life? What happens? That's what he is giving in the next verse, verse 15. The idea moves there. Here he gives the answer. Don't ask me what answer you gave. The same question comes here. Fact. He says, what happens after that? Okay, attainable. I am attainable easily, but having attained me, by attaining me, by achieving me, by reaching me, what do you accomplish? What happens after that? Is what he is giving here. Is what is verse 15. Mamupetya punarjanma dukhalayam ashashvatam नाप्नुवन्ति महात्मानः संसिद्धिं परमां गताः. Having come to me, the Mahatmas, great souls, are no more subject to rebirth, which is transitory and the abode of pain. They have reached the highest perfection. Now, the question Arjuna had asked was this. Remember the question. Don't forget. Right. At the time of death, how to think of you? What happens? That's what the question he had asked. Now he started giving answers in complete detail. He is detailing that. So keep that in mind. So there we are taking two lines of thought. One, Antakala, we are referring to the death of ego. Another one is relative understanding. This is absolute. Relative understanding is at the time of physical death. So the answer of Krishna can be studied in these two ways. But Arjuna is referring to only the relative one. He is not referring to the absolute one. Arjuna's question is not with reference to the absolute. Arjuna is asking only with reference to the relative one. Why he is asking about the relative one? Because right now he is in the battlefield. Right? So there are only two chances in that battlefield. Either you come back alive or you don't come back at all. That's the thing here. So at that time, how to think of you is what he is asking. But we have been interpreting it only from this angle. Now the second one we will see later, because he's going to give that answer also coming in the following verses here. This section, what Krishna is doing is explaining from verse 15 to 22. There are two aspects he's giving here. So up to now, Krishna was answering as though he is referring only to the second. I mean the first one, absolute. Antakala referring to the death of ego. So far. Now what Krishna is doing is he has understood that Arjuna is not asking only with reference to the absolute one, he is asking with reference to the relative one also. Which means there are two aspects in life. There are two goals in life. You can have an absolute goal, infinite, or you can have a finite goal. So here he is going to be describing there are two aspects. Brahman, beyond the manifest and the unmanifest world. It is beyond all that. So don't think Brahman belongs to anything that is conceivable. All finite, one side. So what is samsara? All that is finite is treated as samsaric. Different from that is moksha. So he is describing samsara, also explaining what is moksha, what happens after moksha. By attaining moksha, what do you achieve? This description of that samsaric thing is given to us to develop that vairagya towards this and seek that. To understand the limitations of the finite goals of life and seek that infinite. So to do that, he is giving all these details. Very descriptive one. Beautiful descriptions. This is the idea. The central theme here is going to be this from verse 15 to 22. Now he is starting with this. As I said, he is explaining two things in this verse itself. He is explaining what is the state of realization and what is the limitation of samsara. This is the verse. Rest of the things are explaining that. Right. So here he gives what is moksha. What happens when you attain moksha? Having come to me, the Mahatmas are no more subject to rebirth. Punarjanma न आप्नुवन्ति. Punarjanma, rebirth. They don't come back to rebirth again. Birth means death. Birth means death. Birth and death means change. So anytime you read birth, death, all this, immediately you got to put in within brackets change. They no longer subject to change. Everything goes on changing. These people don't come back to, for which you need to have the basic understanding of what is the way Janma happens. Why do you take birth? How do you take birth? Now, how do you take birth? Taking birth is that Jiva gets into an embodiment. That's called birth. That Jiva, life principle or soul in the limited sense. Sometimes we use the soul to refer to the self also, Atman, Brahman. Also we use it. But in this context, when we say soul, we are not referring to that, we are referring to the Jiva, the individual. Now, that individual entering that body, getting into that body is called birth. That same soul or the Jiva leaving the body is called death. You enter birth, exit death. Now, why do you enter? Why do you exit? Why did you log into this Zoom class today? Why do you exit the Zoom class? Hmm? You enter, you exit. Why do you enter? You entered because you had the desire to learn the Gita. If you are not having the desire to learn the Bhagavad Gita, you are not going to be logging in. That is not possible. When you are not learning the Bhagavad Gita, or you had picked up some other desire, let's say, some other engagement comes into picture, then what do? Exit and go. At best, what you will say? Thank you, sir. You will say and walk out. But walking out will happen. Whether you say thanks or not, doesn't make any difference. You'll walk out. Now, you have entered here because of a desire. You exit because of some other desire. Nevertheless, you move from experience to experience driven by your desires only. Right? No desires. A particular desire drives you to enter into that particular experience. For you to have that experience, you need a body. Minus body, you cannot have any experience. A valid experience you will not have. All the experiences that you can have minus body is invalid, imaginary. That is why in the dream also you experience, isn't it? That's why you wake up, no. Why? You had the experience of a nightmarish one. Gita class happened in the dream also. You get scared. Or you wake up with such a ecstasy. What? I had the darshan of Lord Rama. in the dream. Enough, no? Are you satisfied with that? 3 days, let's say. I remember my grandmother telling, "Hey, often I'm having, our, in our village, just outside our house, we had a, Ganesha temple. You know, he's our pet Ganesha. For, for our family, Ganesha means only he is Ganesha. The rest are all just, okay, okay only. He is our Ganesha. You know. She was telling my father, said, hey, 3, 4 times, I've been having this dream. Let's make a trip to see. After that, I will not get the dream. After that, she didn't say anything. So all of us, whole family went because she had the dream. All of us have to go. 7, 8 tickets have to go from Chennai to our village. Have darshan and come back. You have had the darshan of that Ganesha in the dream. You wanted to build a house, you had the dream of living in a palatial house. Be satisfied, no? You'll say what? No, 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 no. That is not. It should be. It has to be physically experienced. Unless you physically experience, you are not going to be satiated, satisfied. Therefore, you have to need a body, and that body plus the sense objects. The body and sense objects were given to you, and this jiva enters into that body. Why he is entering? Because of the desires. Because of what desires? Desires that were not fulfilled. So, birth happens because of unfulfillment of a desire. Now, realization is what? Prajahati yada kaman sarvan partha manogata. The one who had cast off all desires. Sarvan kaman. All desires. There is no sesham, leftovers, few desires. No. All desires gone. When all desires have been exhausted, there is a possibility for him to come back. There's no possibility for him to come back. Why? Because birth itself is possible only if there is unfulfilled desire. Now, there is no desire to be fulfilled or not to be fulfilled. Such a person, how can he have, having come to me, the Mahatmas are no more subject to rebirth, no more subject to this birth, this samsara. They don't get into, man. Having come to me. Why having come to me? To me means to become the self. To get into the self. Having come to me means not just go and see him and come back. Not in that sense. Having come to me means having become me. Once they become me, the possibility of becoming is there only if you are already that. Isn't it? A mud pot can become mud. Why? Because that even when it is a pot, it has not lost its mudhood in that. No, don't see English. Forget about language. It's a mudhood. The clay hood has to be there in the pot. If it is, when it becomes a pot, doesn't mean it has lost its clayhood. Clayhood is still there. That is why when you smash that pot, when you destroy the pot, it becomes clay again. That's all. Same way here. Having come to me means having become me. So don't take it as come to me means just, Upetya. Mom, Upetya means having come. Having come means what? He has become me. Why he is able to become me? Me, we have referred many times. Me is not referring to Krishna. Me is referring to the self here. Brahman, Atman, pure consciousness. Having become the pure consciousness, why having become the pure consciousness? You are able to become pure consciousness because your nature is also of the same consciousness. It's the same thing. Because that is the logic. Otherwise, it is not possible. Similar nature, in fact, same nature, not even similar nature. Same nature of object alone can become that. Otherwise, it is not possible. Otherwise, mango seed can produce coconut tree. Isn't it? Mango seed can never produce coconut tree. Mango seed can produce only mango tree and mangoes. And that mango tree and the mangoes were all there, inherent in the mango seed. And that tree will produce again mango seeds only. It will not produce something else. So essentially, it's the same thing. Similarly, this Mahatmas and me are essentially the same thing. And who are the Mahatmas? We are all ordinary Atmas. They are Mahatmas. Who is a Mahatma? The one who has been maintaining that consistency of thought, of the self. Nityayukta. He is a Mahatma. Don't say he has a big Atma. We are all small Atmas and he has a big Atma. Not in terms of size, in terms of his inner being, the refinement of that inner personality. A refined inner beings. They're called Mahatmas here. Those refined personalities, they come to my nature. They assume my nature. They become one with me. Such people, what happens to them, sir? They don't have punarjanma. Then he goes on to describe what is that punarjanma. What is that janma? Not punarjanma. What is the janma? What is samsara? What is samsara? He describes samsara with two words. Fantastic description of samsara. What is the problem of samsara? He explains. Nature of samsara. What happens here? He says, Dukkhalayam ashashvatam. Two words he uses. Dukkhalayam and ashashvatam. Dukkhalayam, alayam means abode. Shivalayam means abode of Shiva, where Shiva is living permanently, not a temporary accommodation, not a rented house, right? Permanent house. That's called alayam. Alayam means that. Alayam means a permanent abode where Shiva lives permanently. That's what they do, this prana pratishtha and all they do. He's actually living. Till the previous day, it's just a stone. The next day, it becomes an idol. How? The stone gets transformed into an idol. How, sir? That's where they give that prana pratishtha. Like a still baby and a live baby. What's the difference? And you see sometimes, when they deliver babies, it's scaring actually. How these doctors, treat them. I saw one video. I was really shocked. The child comes out, first thing he does, what? Gives a whack. Tapu, tapu, he is hitting the child. I said, hey, I thought that suddenly it occurred to me. It's the same thing that lady also must have done to me. And then he starts crying, he cries. And then he says, everybody's celebrating. This baby is crying and everybody's celebrating. Terrible humanity this is. Heartless people. I say. How is it? This is called a prana pratishta. That's why they do various rituals through which they invoke, they establish Shiva there in that idol. After that, it is no longer just a statue, no longer just a stone, no longer just a artistic one. It is actually this one. Like you go to this Parsadi Swami temple, Triplicane, Krishna means that is real Krishna. Rest are all not real Krishna. I've seen this movie, Karnan. It was a movie by, old one Tamil movie. Shivaji Ganesan would have acted as Karnan in that, and N.T. Ramarao, permanent Krishna for us. He has done, this Krishna role in that. I remember one boy, was listening, we were all sitting and watching the movie in somebody's house because it came in, they did some digitalized some sound, something they have remade, something they have done with that. And they were showing it to us now, fantastic, sir, to see that. I said, okay, let's watch. I was sitting and watching. And this Krishna comes there. And this boy is so, fantastic. He said, why he is putting up that fake smile? In a battlefield, will he be standing there and putting a fake smile? I said, don't see this Krishna, come with me to Chennai. I will take you to the temple. You will see that Krishna original with that mustache and that broad shoulders and, bleeding. With real blood, you can see him there. With the marks of all this. Now here we see Krishna as what? We understand Krishna in the form of what? Always smiling, he is smiling. The real one, you have to see. So get on to that real one, man. Dukkalayam says, Alayam is permanent abode. Which is a permanent abode of Krishna you wanted to know? Triplicane you go. That Krishna very difficult, sir. Or else where else you go, sir? There's another house. If you can buy 3 houses registered in your name, is what people ask me. How can God be everywhere? If he is that place, then how can you say he is here also? I said, if you idiots can have 4 houses registered in your name, why can't he have 400 houses? Permanently is only, no? Guruvayur you can go and see. Krishna. Alayam means abode. What, sir? Permanent abode. What is so interestingly, Krishna coins a fantastic word here to describe birth, describe life. What is life? He says, Dukkhalayam. Permanent abode of who? Dukkha. Life is painful. Buddha's great discovery. Poor guy, he didn't read Bhagavad Gita. He doesn't have to. He is reinventing the wheel. Poor fellow. If he would have studied Gita, he would have got it straight away. Yes, Dukkhalayam. What is this? Abode of, permanent abode of pain only it is. And what is so interesting about this coinage is we don't see it like that. That's the problem. See, for us, it's not dukkha. Once in a while, okay, mostly dukkha, but some joy also there in life, sir. There's some pleasure. You know, at least we get to hear, Bhagavad Gita class. No, such a pleasure we had. Everything, every aspect of life is painful. The birth is a pain. Growth is a pain. You got to see the child struggling just to turn around. It's amazing to see that. 1 week struggle the child would go through just to turn. All that he has to do is what? Turn around is such a pain. And after turning around, more pain. Why? The head is not steady yet. You know, Swarna, you can ask. She would know better. I don't know whether she's there. Because I don't know the other houses. Old maybe. Maybe your memories are gone. So interesting to see. They go and hit the thing and then they cry. A pain. And then they have to sit, another pain. Standing up, another pain. Walking, pain. Talking, pain. Schooling, not to talk about. You know, it's such a pain. Homework. I said, if at all I go to, I said, next Janma I don't want. I said, why? School we have to go. That's what I told Swamiji. He said, Swamiji, I don't want another Janma, Swamiji. He said, Yanda. Again, I have to study income tax, commerce, because he gave that condition to me. You got to complete BCom and then join. I said, why you are torturing me like this? I have to complete, BCom and then come. Such a pain. Growth is a pain. Disease, not to talk about. Disease is a pain. And then old age, again a pain. To you and to people around you. Right? You become a pain to everyone. And death, not to talk about. The life means only what? This is all life is. Birth, growth, disease, decay, death. That's all you have in life. All these aspects are all painful. And what is so interesting is you are completely oblivious to it. You don't see it. That's why later on you go on saying, again and again you will say, Ya Pashyati Sa Pashyati. Ya Pashyati Sa Pashyati. Pashyati Sa. 13th chapter he says 3 times in fact. Still we miss it. The 13th chapter, we'll see that. Very, very interesting. He says that and then immediately himself says, whoever sees it, yeah. Now what to do? I can't make you see, Arjuna. You have to see it yourself. What is it? It's painful. Life is such a pain. Why? Why you are not seeing it is because with any pain, remember, one thing happens. With any pleasure, one thing happens. This is the tragedy of life. With reference to any discomfort, any pain, you get acclimatized. You see, initially, when we shifted our house to Tamram Sanatorium, our street is just perpendicular to the railway track. You know, end of the road is a railway track, not a big lane and all that, just a small lane. Maybe about 10 houses would be there. That's all. And we are the sixth house also. Four houses next is the railway track. And railway track means whole day, whole night train going up and down. All the trains that is coming, entering Chennai from south has to pass through our house. Goods train, passenger train. Apart from that, we have this metro, electric train. Whole night, whole day, and then they have a horn. It's not like our this horn. You get palpitations. You hear that the heartbeat starts beating faster actually. And we are struggling actually for the first about a month. We're struggling to sleep. After 1.5, 2 months, 3 months later, no problems. And from there, I go to the academy. I couldn't sleep. I said, no, everything is so quiet there. I said, no, quiet. What do you need? I said, I should have recorded that, train sound. Sound and then put it in Walkman and then sleep. Then you get a good sleep. Mosquito bites. Initially, you will have a problem. Once you are used to living with mosquitoes, after that, what? You will be missing them if it is not there. It's called acclimatization. When it comes to pain, you get acclimatized to pain. After a point, you will not register. Pleasures of life, another tragedy. Neutralized. With reference to pleasures, acclimatized. With reference to pain, you get acclimatized. With reference to pleasures, you get neutralized. You don't enjoy it. You cannot enjoy it beyond a point. You don't register the pain. Why you don't register the pain is because lack of alertness. Even though we give a physical example, physically body gets acclimatized to new environment and situations and all that. But that's not the case. That's not the problem. People don't register it. You don't register because you are lost actually. I see people traveling constantly every week, here, there you go. And sightseeing, 15 days they finish, 5 countries and come back. And what you don't understand is how much you are disturbing the body, because your eyes will get acclimatized to the sight, isn't it? To the color, to the light in a matter of few minutes. But your stomach will not take in one day acclimatize to a new food. You know that? It takes a couple of months for the stomach to get acclimatized to that timing, that time zone. It doesn't happen immediately. Such a painful process. People don't register it. You should have that alertness to recognize it. That's why you say, he's been maintaining, Swamiji has been maintaining, same weight. You will say what? I am also maintaining same weight. What you don't understand is every 3 weeks, new time zone. Right? Every 3 weeks, new place. By the time that body gets acclimatized, the stomach gets acclimatized to that particular food, particular water, particular time zone, leave, come back to another one. Again, what's sir? New things. There you eat something else. Here you eat something else. There you eat something else. Now you can't say wherever I go, I have to carry my own food. That's what people do. So what people do is they carry along with them. Food is carried. You know, your stomach will not get acclimatized. See, physical body has its design is such that it cannot function if it is not. But we are not talking about physical. We are talking about psychologically. You get acclimatized. You get used to that. That is the samsara. That's the lack of awareness. This is called ignorance. Ignorance is not knowing. Now we think, spiritual ignorance means I don't know. Oh, spiritually I am a very ignorant person. Why? Because I have not studied Bhagavad Gita, therefore I am ignorant, sir. I have not studied Brahma Sutra, therefore ignorant. It's nothing to do with this ignorance, please. Here, ignorance means lack of awareness, alertness. Because of that lack of alertness, we don't recognize it. On top of that, mind has a tendency to get acclimatized also. Therefore, we are not seeing it as Dukkalaya. See, we see it as, yeah, what? Life is joy only. No, there's no problem. I can see. Of course, there are one or two issues are there. Of course, Corona is there and lockdown is there. Once the lockdown opens up, after that, what? No problems. Once Corona goes, no problems. After that, there's no issues. That's called lack of awareness. Dukkalaya, this world, this birth is such a painful one. This is why, Ishwaran, what we are all doing, we know that. We have understood what? This life is such a pain. That is why we are coming to the Gita class. That is why we are studying the Bhagavad Gita. That is why we are doing some good work. That is why we are going to the temple, all those things, and ask where, let us go to heaven. Because the description of the heaven is what? Pleasure only, no pain. Heaven is, life is full of joy. There's no pain at all there. That is why we all want to go to heaven. What about that? He says, Ashashvatam. You escape here and say that I am going to heaven. He says, that is also what, sir? Ashashvatam, transitory. It's not permanent. Now, that's a great idea here. Fascinating idea. Meaning, you can have certain pleasures of life. Remember, when you have a desire, your desire gets fulfilled, you do get some satisfaction. You do get some joy, pleasure, happiness, fulfillment. But that fulfillment, that joy, that satisfaction is not going to be permanent. It is not a total satisfaction. That satisfaction, that pleasure is not complete. It is incomplete one. Ashashvatam, he says. The pleasures of life is incomplete. The moment something is incomplete, leads you to what? You can try that. You snatch the chocolate from the child halfway. It's impossible. You try and see what happens. The child gets so wild, so angry. As a result of which, it will start crying. But it is anger. It's so violent you get into. Remember, anger, whenever we discuss anger, remember this. Anger means violence. Your anger can never subside without destroying something. It's impossible. That's why we say anger is a negative one. You have to destroy. Either you destroy an object You destroy a being or you destroy yourself. But destruction must be. That act is called violence. You will get so violent. When do you get so violent? When do you get so angry? When your pleasure, when you are, as you are believing it to be enjoying by you, it leaves. As you are enjoying, it is leaving. It goes away. What happens then? Tremendous frustration. Ashashvatam. Otherwise, we will not even understand. When he says impermanent, it's not permanent. Of course, we understand it's impermanent. Okay, move to next verse. Impermanent is not that place. Impermanent means this. Anything that you get, you will not be satisfied because all that you have achieved, you always see something better than that exists. You see, you can have complete satisfaction only there is nothing better possible, isn't it? Nothing higher possible than this. The moment you perceive something higher exists, something better exists, with reference to yours, what will happen? Hmm? You go to buy TV. You wanted to buy a new TV, 52-inch LED. You go, and the fellow says it is 50,000. 10% discount, sir. We offer you 10% discount. You get 45,000. And you buy the TV and come. You are so happy. You got the TV for 45,000. And your neighbor comes. He comes. He says, hey, new TV you got. Yeah, I got this new TV. From where? This branch of this one. How much you pay? I said, 45,000, man. Huh? 45, yeah. Hey, same TV, man. And the fellow sold to me for 52,000. Hey, you got for 45. Cheat here, these fellows, I tell you. Each one they give one rate, and very bad. When he says he got that same TV for 52,000, how do you feel now? In the morning, you got the TV for 45,000, which is actually 50,000. The cost is 50,000, but you got it for 45,000. You had X amount of joy. Evening, your friend comes, neighbor comes, and he says he got that same TV from the same branch for 52,000. What happened to your pleasure now? You look at him like, you must have that knack here, you should know how to negotiate, you must have that idea. You don't know, you should have told me when you are buying, you should have told me. I would have come along with you and negotiated with these guys. See, there is a way of speaking to these guys, you should know what is inside. See, the company is that, but this manufacturing, the parts, they're all supplied by the other fellow. You see, all that you give a lecture, and night you have a fantastic sleep. You are in seventh heaven. Next day morning, you get that newspaper. Nowadays, front page is not news actually. Front page is advertisement page. Nowadays, earlier advertisement will come inside. Now advertisement is a paper. News secondary, fourth page, fifth page goes nowadays. front page, paper, advertisement, 30% discount, flat 30% discount for the same TV, same branch. What happens to you now? Same TV you watch now, right? How do you feel? Every time you switch on the TV, which thought will come to you now? 45,000, 52,000, or 35,000? 30% discount means 15% gone. 15,000 gone. Correct? Huh? 35,000. I lost 10,000 rupees. Yo, watch. One day, and you scold your wife. Your stupid sentiments waited because she said, tomorrow is Ashtami, Navami, something she says, and says, instead of going and buying tomorrow, we'll buy today itself, is what she told yesterday. Right? So you went. And now you will be thinking, not just that 45,000, not just that, thing. Your problem is when you see that neighbor outside, he will look at you as what? That fellow who offered you that 10% discount, what that salesman will be thinking of you? You idiot. Because those guys they would not be deciding this that day night. They would have decided 2 days in advance, in fact. Only then they would have given advertisement. No. You can't give a full page advertisement previous night. You see, they give 2 days in advance. So he knows that same TV tomorrow is going to be sold for 35. I am selling for 45 today. 10,000 rupees gain for me. All these thoughts will come. After that, how will you go through that TV? Ashashvatam. Ida Ashashvatam. The pleasure is Ashashvatam. The joy that you have is Ashashvatam. After a period of time, this also will go. You see, it will change. It will change. Anything, the pleasures that you are experiencing are not permanent. Because something else will happen. One thing is enough. One small change is sufficient enough for you to spoil the whole thing. Ashashvatam. You keep on doing it. Why? Either you change or that changes. Object changes. The situation changes. And that change you cannot take because you got that pleasure, you got that joy when it is not changed. And the law of nature we have seen just now. Life means what? Birth. Birth means what? Death. Death means what? Change. It will change. So when it changes, what happens to you? And you are moving from experience to experience, from body to body, driven by your desires. And the desires go on changing. The world goes on changing. Where is the chances of you having a permanent joy? It's impossible. You get, completely lost. Says, what is the nature of samsara? What happens after realization? No rebirth. What is the nature of samsara? Dukkhalayam and Ashashvatam. 15. 16. Abrahma bhuvanan lokaha punaravartinorjuna mamupetyatu kaunteya punarjanmana vidyate. All the worlds up to Brahmaloka, world of Brahma, are subject to return, O Arjuna. But on reaching me, there is no rebirth. O Kaunteya says. all the worlds up to Brahmaloka. Brahma Bhuvanat. This Brahma, this means up to Brahmaloka. Have you seen? Now, here we don't consider heaven to be a permanent abode. You go to the heavens with the return ticket. Who goes to heaven? How do you go to heaven? Is depending upon your punya. You do unselfish action. You do selfish action, you get papa. You do unselfish action, you get punya. Right? Merit. That punya needs to be experienced. You are entitled to certain pleasures by your unselfish action. Unselfish, desired an action. So whenever we say unselfish, immediately what you have to understand is unselfish desires. Actions driven by unselfish desires. Then actions driven by selfish desires. So in life, you perform actions driven by desires. Could be selfish, could be unselfish. Now he is not discussing with reference to selfish. There's no point. Selfish actions means you are not in the discussion at all. Actually, you see, you don't even get a call here. It is all out. A student who has failed in exams can't even apply for college. Out. That's all it is. Now, if you have not, passed, there's no way that you can apply. Right. Same thing here. Selfish action means all failed candidates. Out. So forget it. I'll say. Now, when you get punya, we do good actions, you get punya. To exhaust that punya, you go to heaven. Right? This heavens were divided, supposed to be higher realms. Lokas means higher planes. Higher plane of experience. Higher grade of experiences. Superior pleasures of life. You will get a better joys, pleasures of life. So that will go on increasing depending upon how much punya you have got. More punya, higher. Like that, these people say there are supposed to be 6 heavens above us. 6 lokas are there above. Right? There's supposed to be 6 there. Where we are is considered as Burloka, Bhualoka, Swarloka, Makarloka, Janaloka, Tapaloka, and Satyaloka. These are the lokas above. The Satyaloka is what is referred here as Brahmaloka, where Brahmaji will be sitting there. He is the chief there, president of that loka is Brahmaji. When you say Brahmaji is not Sanskrit, it's a Hindi word. In Hindi you say Ji. Brahma, old, that four-headed old man, creator, who is also referred as Hiranyagarbha, is also referred as Prajapati, etc. There are various names have been given. You will find in the scriptures. So wherever they use these words, you got to understand it is referring to Brahma. So Hiranyagarbha is Brahma. This is also Brahma. Here Brahmaloka. You go to Satyaloka. Right up to Satyaloka, what is it? Return. Subject to return, which means you will come back. You cannot be permanent there, which means Ashashvatam. Dukkalayam he is not explaining. He is explaining Ashashvatam here. He is going on to describe the samsara. Samsara means not just this loka. He is including samsara. All that is Ashashvatam is equal to samsara. Which means you go to Brahmaloka, up to Brahmaloka, everything is samsara only. Why? You come back. So, up to Brahmaloka, one. Also, it means this Brahma Bhuvana, and he says, it also means including Brahmaloka. Up to Brahmaloka or including Brahmaloka. Which means you can even go to Brahmaloka and come back. Which means you can go to Brahmaloka and not come back. You're all with me? First one is up to Brahmaloka. First interpretation. Brahma Bhuvana means because of that prefix a, it gives dual meaning there. Up to one meaning. Up to that. Which means you go to Brahmaloka, you will not come back. Below Brahmaloka, you come back. This is first meaning. Then there is another meaning. Up to including Brahmaloka. Which means you can go to Brahmaloka. There are two options there. One, you come back or you don't come back. Which means you go to realization from there. You don't get back to the samsara, get back to this world, get back to this embodiment. There is no more rebirth. So, in Brahmaloka, you can enter and come back, or you can enter Brahmaloka and from Brahmaloka, you get realization. Two chances are there in Brahmaloka. But with reference to all other lokas, the second chance is not there. Only one option. What is it? You enter, come back. This Bhurloka, Swarloka, Makarloka, Janloka, Tapaloka, all those places, they're all different levels of grades of heavens. So huge descriptions are there in the Puranas. Fascinating descriptions of that. A little of that sample he is going to give, with reference to Brahmaloka. He is not interested in discussing about all these lokas. Krishna has an interest with reference to Brahmaloka because of only one reason. That's where the second interpretation comes into picture. We say, in Brahmaloka, what is it, sir? You enter, come back. Few can enter Brahmaloka, come back. Few enter Brahmaloka, from there they get realization. Right? I used to give this example, but still I believe it's the best example I can give. Brahmaloka is like Vedanta Academy. You can enter Vedanta Academy. And then what, sir? Gain that knowledge, realize. Or you can enter Vedanta Academy and exit. Coming back saying what? Fantastic place. So clean. A lot of them say. So cleaner. Spotless. So what? Whether the place is spotless or whether it is clean or what of it to you? You enter there. What is it, sir? You listen to the discourses of Brahma. Who is Brahma? Brahma is the first one to realize. The first being who realized the self is Brahma. So you listen directly from Brahma, means you directly listen from that Brahmajnani, the one who has realized. You listen to his discourse, you gain that knowledge, and then what you do, you realize. From there, you can realize. Or you can go there, you can stay for a long period of time also, doesn't make any difference whether you stay there for 2 weeks or you stay for 2 years or you stay for 20 years, doesn't make a difference. You stay there for a long period of time, it is such a pleasure, such a joy to be staying there. Enjoy. Come back. Remember this example. Okay, just an example. I'm not saying, Vedanta Academy is Brahmaloka. To me, it may appear like Brahmaloka, not to you. It may look like a Patala also to you. Hell. There are, Atala, Sutala, Vitala, Talatala. There are so many lower hells are there. Lower worlds are there, which are called hell. The lowest one is Patala. Seventh hell. So there are supposed to be 14 realms of world. The seventh one is where we are all living. Seventh plane is this loka where we are all living. So you can go or come. Now, when you are performing, who goes to heaven? The one who has done unselfish actions, gained punya. If you have gained sufficient unselfish actions, you will go to Brahmaloka. Up to Brahmaloka you can go. Come back. There is another set of people also get an entry into Brahmaloka. There are two sets of people go to Brahmaloka. One group who have, I can give the same example, Vedanta Academy only. The YPOs who pay through their nose and come and listen to the talk of Swamiji. And people like us also go and sit. Right? What did you do? Nothing. Not paid a single rupee. In fact, we have destroyed things there. No valid contribution there. Particularly in my case, the very first day I went to the academy, broke things. From the day itself, destruction. Swami said, you have a right name. Ishvara said, God of destruction. You walk into a place, you destroy that. Like that is, They also come and listen. How? Pay heavily. And we were also going and sitting there. How is it that we got an access to that? He got an access because he had paid. We get an access there, not because we have paid. Then what did you do? You can't say freely you got it. No, you have done something. What is that now? This is another lifestyle. Another set of people, what they do is, in this lifetime, what they were performing is, they were doing tapas. They were performing the spiritual disciplines. They are following this karma yoga, bhakti yoga, jnana yoga, this, that, all that spiritual disciplines, all that associated disciplines that are supposed to be practiced, all that he was practicing. Along with that, he had slipped into few unselfish action. Here and there, little, the full tapas life only. But here and there, some unselfish actions when he performs. What happens now? If you have done only selfless action, now I'm introducing that word selfless. Pure selfless action life, direct realization. You get realization in this Janma itself. Here itself you get realization. Now this person, he has been performing selfless actions, but he slipped into few unselfish action, meaning few unselfish decided an action for which he is entitled X amount of punya. Which loka you will send him to? Right? You can't send him to this Bhurloka, Swarloka, and all that, because that's all too low for him. It's all too ordinary for him. So where do you send him, sir? He says, those people will go to Brahmaloka. In Brahmaloka, what they do is very different from what this fellow does in Brahmaloka. What they do in Brahmaloka, what is happening in Brahmaloka is only one. Here we are having one head, one lecture. Right? And having one head and one talk, you can escape. But Brahma, you can't escape because four heads. Somewhere down the line, I will get tired. You may not get, I will get tired. I'll stop. Right? Brahma is not like that. The moment one head gets tired, he will turn. The next head will start. By that time that head gets tired, next head will start. We will 1/4 only one functioning. No, other 3/4 is resting. Resting. He will take rest and speak. We will not have any rest. So exhausted. He will go on. What else Brahma can do? The fellow knows only one thing. What? He will go on teaching. He will go on teaching the Vedas. He just goes on giving this knowledge. Receiving that knowledge from Brahma, he realizes that. This is known as Krama Mukti. The one who does all selfless action, performs his tapas and gains that jnanam, here he gets Jivan Mukti, direct realization. Those are the Mahatmas he referred earlier. Now who he is talking about is those who have missed that Jivan Mukti will get Kaivalya Mukti, get Krama Mukti. Krama Mukti is what? Realization in stages. Who gets that? The person who has been performing his sadhana, his tapas. Along with that, he has performed certain unselfish actions for which he is entitled to stay in heaven and enjoy, reap the benefits of that. Therefore, how you should live life? Ideal life is what? Do tapas, only selfless action. If not, selfless action coupled with unselfish action, where will you go? Brahmaloka you go. There you get that knowledge. If not, if you are performing only unselfish actions, what will happen, sir? You will get the benefit of it. What is the only problem? Come back. Therefore, what you should do? It's all suggested. It's not direct one. It's all, subtle suggestion it is. Suggestion one is, why are you wasting your time? Take a direct flight, no. Why do you want to take a indirect flight? Why land in Dubai, get into trouble? Corona problem, all that. Go directly. Get into the flight here, get down there. No stopping in between. No change of flights, nothing. Straight you go. That is Kaivalya Mukti, Jivan Mukti. For which you have to do what? Only selfless action. And jnanam. Selfless action and gain that knowledge. Right? Or to put it little technical if you want to understand it, people have been performing this karma yoga and upasana. Those people, meaning saguna upasana. Those who have been following that Saguna Upasana. Along with that, they are performing their karmas also, disciplined life, and unselfish actions or selfless actions, whatever you call now. Those things they are performing. Along with that, what they were doing, sir, instead of Nirguna Brahma Upasana, they were doing Saguna Brahma Upasana. There they will go. Those people will go to Brahmaloka. And those who have done tremendous punya, and there is a calculations these people have. For every dhanam, what is a quantum of punya you get? There's a big calculation. Don't ask me for all that. Okay, that will look more interesting, sir. A useless one. You know, you do this. You do this japa. For doing the japa of this mantra for this many period of time, this many number of times, you get it. And this japa done in this period, this number of times, different effect you get. Grahana kala, when you do this japa, effect is 1,000 times more. Now this is like Rajinikanth only. That's all. There's nothing big. ஒரு தடவை சொன்னா 100 தடவை சொன்ன மாதிரி. Grahana kala, when you do this, chanting, Gayatri mantra upasana, when you chant one mantra, it is equal to 1,000 times. Slightly better than Rajinikanth. He says only 100. He says 1,000. Depending upon all that. Similarly, dhanam. You give this dhanam during that period to that person, this much punya. Do that same dana to another period, to another person, different punya. All that calculations are there. That's why this is a huge text. Purva Mimamsa. Referring to the Purva Mimamsa. Dharma Shastra. Dharma Shastra is a huge, voluminous one. Yeah. Whereas this Moksha Shastra is not voluminous one, very small. Jaimini's work is huge. Vyasa's Brahma Sutra is a very small one, only 500 and odd sutras are there. Compared to that one, this is very small. That one is, 10,000 or so. Sutras itself. And then they have to give an explanation for that. A huge one, Dharma Shastras. Why so big, voluminous? Because they have to give all permutation combination. Brahma Sutra, one shot they finish all that. Perform actions without desires. No selfish, no unselfish. Solved. Therefore, no discussion at all about all those things here. That's why it is very small. So, those who perform Saguna Upasana and Karma, they practice Karma Yoga and Saguna Upasana. Those people go to Brahmaloka, stay there and gain that knowledge from Brahma and switch over to Nirguna Upasana and get realization. All others are what, sir? Come back. Therefore, Krishna says, all the worlds up to Brahmaloka are subject to return to Arjuna. But reaching me, there's no rebirth. Now, reaching me, you can do here. Why do you have to go all the way there? Don't say, sir, Vedanta Academy is Brahmaloka, Bangalore class is, straight realization. That will be an abuse of example. Immediately we will say, sir, if that is Brahmaloka, why you go all the way to Vedanta Academy to gain Vedanta, knowledge? That's why you are attending your class now here itself. We'll get it directly. This is just entertainment. This is not even education actually. Okay. So don't get all these funny ideas. You won't get anything. Nowhere near. Okay. Now that example is only for that purpose. That's all. Just to understand Brahmaloka. Don't stretch it beyond. Any example is a problem. Immediately we'll stretch it. No stretching here. It is strictly to be referred only for that one point, one aspect. Don't take it beyond, please. Right up to Brahmaloka. Why waste time, man? Why getting into all these things? Punarjanma. No Punarjanma for this fellow. A beautiful verse. Right. See you next class. Hari Om.